welcome back to an all-new edition of The Odds Honest Truth. I am Craig Gorbanoff here every single week to give you all the latest and greatest sports bets from games around the country. We got NFL picks, we got NCAA college football picks, and we will soon be having some NBA and NHL plays for you as well. So definitely subscribe to us on the In the Money YouTube channel and the In the Money Master podcast feed. The OWN show will have its own feed soon. I know I've been saying that for a couple of weeks, but we will have our own feed soon on the In the Money Media Network. So definitely stay tuned. Of course, you've been following along on inthemoneypodcast.com for all the latest shows. But where you're really going to get the most up-to-date information is going to be our Twitter account. That's going to be at Odds Honest Truth. All kinds of plays for every single day of the week. Anytime there's a sport to be bet, there is a play for you at Odds Honest Truth. And we've been on fire lately. We're giving out winners. Rich went undefeated last week against the spread, and he's having some hot takes lately. And we're netting positive. I'm cashing some tickets too. We had a nice big week last week, so you definitely want to make sure you follow along on Twitter at Odds Honest Truth. You can follow me at cgorbs94, and you can follow Rich at Coda522. We're gonna have a real fun show today. It's a nice fun week in the NFL. My New York Football Jets are back. I won't be betting them because I've picked them wrong every single week, but there's a lot of really interesting games this week. A lot of great possibilities, and we're going to get into them. But let's start first with the college football experience, and you know him, you love him. It's your man, Alan Studer, the Stucast Sports. Alan, why don't you take it away with some college football plays?
Hey, thanks, Craig. Welcome back in, folks. Tough week last week, 2-2. A game I loved, Louisiana Tech. I don't know what happened to them. They're on the side of a milk carton. It is the breaks, how it works. Go 2-2. Let's try and shoot for better. Guaranteeing a winning week this week, shooting for better. I got 5 games for you, and we'll start with the first kickoff at noon on Saturday. Cincinnati Bearcats head to Annapolis to take on the Midshipmen. Lost with Navy last week. Game I really liked. I saw them as, great dogs at 10 points at a bad Memphis team, and they got smoked. They got blown out. And one thing you saw is this Navy team probably a little bit tired, and they also lost their quarterback late in that game. Cincinnati comes in, a team we had last week. They're looking to make a point. They're going to stomp on some throats. They're going to make a statement. They won this game last time they met 3 years ago, 48-0. I see something similar here. I'm laying 27.5. I love Cincy this week. Next, 1 o'clock. Normally I don't play Maction unless it's Tuesday night Maction, but this game caught my eye, and this is a pure stat play. I'm going to tell you both these teams are not good. I probably wouldn't even lean with the side that I'm going to give you, all things considered, if we're just looking at the eye test. But here's a crazy stat. It's been since 2015. You have to go back all the way to 2015 to find a game where Ohio has lost by more than a touchdown to a MAC opponent. They are getting 6. They are playing Kent State. Give me the Bobcats. That stat's crazy to me. I'm hoping it keeps continuing. We're going to roll with it. Hopefully we didn't jinx it. That's a 1 o'clock kickoff, folks, so be mindful of that. 3:30, another game I really like. We're going back to CUSA. UAB taking on Rice. UAB at home. They made an impressive statement last week. Really kicking a pretty bad Southern Miss team down. And Rice blown out 45-0 on the road at UTSA. And look, UAB might be the class of Conference USA. Certainly coming into the season, they were thought to be that. This UAB team's kind of clicking. Rice is really bad. This is a really bad team in a really tough spot. They're averaging give or take about 270 yards less yards per game on the road. Some of that's inflated because they're playing Texas, they're playing Arkansas. It's a little inflated, but when you're struggling to beat SWAC teams going on the road against probably the team you're going to see in the Conference USA Championship game in UAB, I'm going to take UAB. Let's head to the night games. First off, over total play. Now, be mindful. We got weather is going to be a factor in this, but one thing I love about college basketball, you find these teams, and I'm going to little diatribe a little bit. College basketball season's coming up. I can do it. You find these teams that have crazy pace. And by that, I mean, they're going to have 80 to 90 possessions a game. They just want to get the ball. They can't wait to get back on offense. They play no defense. And in college football, you have some of these teams. You do have some of these teams. 7 o'clock, we get a matchup of two of them, including the best offense in college football statistically so far this season. My Hilltoppers from Western Kentucky. They're laying 15 to FIU. This game is at FIU, and thus rain could be a factor. So be mindful of that. This is a high total at 76.5, but I don't see how both these teams don't get to at least 30 points. And in Western Kentucky's case, I think they're making a statement that they're going to easily get to 45-50. I'm banking on that. I think Western Kentucky can get to 50. Look at the team totals. I think that would be interesting too. I don't have that number, but if Western Kentucky's anything over 40 or so points, I would take a look at that. FIU, they can score points. They don't have a defense. Western Kentucky, not much more defense than FIU, but we know Jarrett Stearns and Bailey Zappi are going to get the job done there. And then finally, we're going to go to College Station as South Carolina travels to Texas A&M. Right now, I've got this line at 20.5. I know 21 is out there as well. Look, I think Texas A&M's really turned a corner. They massacred Missouri last week, a game that I had a little bit on, didn't give it out here. Wish I did, would have been an easy winner. TAMU is certainly found their stride. They're at home. I'll tell you, I watched South Carolina last week against Vandy, and wow, horrific, abysmal. Luke Doughty taken out of the game. He couldn't hit a wide receiver. Struggling to move the ball against Vanderbilt. That's not a good sign. Giving up points to Vanderbilt, not a good sign. Zeb Nolan, your graduate transfer quarterback from North Dakota State, coming in to go to College Station, not a good sign. I'm going to lay the 20.5. Get it while you can, because that number is surely going to rise over 21 by Saturday. And then, as always, we've been giving out picks on Saturday on the Odds Honest Truth Twitter site. So check it out. We might have a play for you. Who knows? We're on fire with it. 3-0. The last 3 weeks we've given out a play. So stay tuned for that. But Rich, Craig, take it away. You've been killing the NFL. I'm sure that's what the people are tuned into. We'll see you next week. Let's cash some tickets.
Thank you so much, Alan. Always great getting your plays from around the country in college football. Up next, he was new last week, but he's a fan favorite. We got John Hazlett with some plays to make you some money this week around the NFL. John, how are we going to get paid?
John here at my picks of the week. Hopefully I do a little bit better than last week. I went 1-2. This week, and I'm going to tell you to bet this one early in the week. Take the Packers minus 9.5 against Washington. Reason being that line's going to move, and I'd like to keep it under 10. So get that early in the week at 9.5. I also love the Raiders minus 3 against the Eagles. I think the Raiders played great last week. I think that carries over. And a little bit of an upset, I'm going to take the Lions plus 15 at the Rams. I think this is a little bit of a letdown game for the Rams. Goff going back to LA is going to want to play well. And the Lions, with the exception of this past weekend, have played everybody pretty close. So I think it's within 15. And hopefully that makes you guys some money. Have a great week.
All right, thanks so much, John. I myself am looking at a couple of different games around the NFL this week. I, for one, have just been in love with what the Rams have been putting together this season. To me, they're one of the most consistent football teams out there right now in the NFL. They're playing one of the weakest teams in the NFL in the Detroit Lions. I think Matt Stafford is playing at elite level. But what I really like is this defense, and what this defense was able to do against the New York Giants last week, who I know were pretty beat up, but I think are at least similar in skill level to the Detroit Lions. I really like the Rams. I would take they're right now the spread's at minus 15.5. I think they can cover that, quite honestly. I think this is a really good football team. I think the defense is going to shut down Jared Goff and the Lions. The Lions offense is not able to really do a lot. They're not a very creative offense, and I'm just a big fan of what the Rams have been able to put together so far this season. Another game that I'm really interested in is going to be the Bengals against the Ravens. These are two hot young teams in the AFC. I'm a big Joe Burrow fan. I think that the Bengals are really a much better team than people are realizing, but I also think the Baltimore Ravens could just win the Super Bowl this year. They're playing at a very elite level. All that being said, I don't know if the Ravens are a touchdown better than the Bengals. The spread right now is at 6.5. I'm gonna keep my eye on this one. I'm gonna contemplate playing this one, but I'm giving out the Cincinnati Bengals to cover. I think the Ravens are gonna win that game by about a field goal. But I don't think they're a full touchdown better. That's going to be it for my picks and plays so far for the week. But definitely check us out at Odds Honest Truth. And make sure you subscribe and like and comment. Let us know your plays in the comment player below. Or tweet at us at Odds Honest Truth. We want to know who you're playing this weekend. And without further ado, we're going to throw it over to the man, the myth, the legend. Undefeated last week. In addition to just giving out perfection on this show, he also was tweeting out winners left and right all weekend long, which is why you have to follow along on Twitter, because there's additional picks and plays that come out. We record the show on Tuesday or Wednesday. There's all kinds of things that come out between now and then to bet on the NFL. So, Rich, why don't you take us away, and why don't you make us some more money this weekend?
Welcome, everyone, to Week 7 of these fantastic bets that we put out. I just want to start by saying that last week we were undefeated with our bets. So I'm going to toot my horn a little bit. Last week I gave you Jags plus 3.5 versus Miami. Jaguars won outright. Last week I gave you Packers minus 4.5 against Chicago. Obviously we hit. Bengals minus 3.5 against the Lions. That was an easy one. Cowboys minus 4 versus the Patriots. That took OT, and that was a crazy game, but we hit that as well. And Cardinals plus 2.5 versus the Browns last week. I said last week on the show, they're undefeated, so give me a reason not to bet them. And Cardinals obviously won outright, and it wasn't that hard of a game. So this week, we're going to start with the Broncos and the Browns. This game is going to be terrible. There's no way around it. I mean, you have so many injuries on both sides of the ball. You look at the Browns, they don't have Mayfield, they don't have Chubb, they don't have Hunt. There's a lot of people that are questionable, like Jadeveon Clowney. And then you look at the other side of the ball, even Teddy Bridgewater is questionable. Judy, it's a slew of injuries on both sides. With that being said, I'm going to go with the team that has less injuries and they're getting points. Broncos started earlier in the day at plus 3. They're now plus 2. I'm going to go Broncos plus 2 versus the Browns. $25 wins you $47.73. I think the Broncos win this game outright. So I'm going to do the money line as well. $25 wins you $51.73. There's not a lot of props in this game that I like. The only thing that I do like, just because it seems to be consistent with either Bridgewater or Locke, is Noah Fant. Noah Fant went off last week, and you can tell by the show we always ride the hot hand. The hot hand, we're going to go again. We're going to do something special that Caesars has. It's a Noah Fant anytime touchdown and over 41 yards. $25 wins you $137. I think both are definitely doable. There's not a lot of options there. Obviously there's Tim Patrick and there's Sutton, but it seems like Fant is the guy right now. We're going to go to Sunday. I have the Panthers minus 3 versus the Giants. The Panthers are kind of falling apart, losing consecutive games. But at the Giants on the other side of the ball, they're so injured. I mean, you look at Daniel Jones last week. Maybe he shouldn't have come back. Maybe we should have took another week off for that concussion. Saquon Barkley, his ankle's looking like a Flintstone. There's a lot of injuries there, and the team is just kind of in limbo. So I'm going to take Panthers -3 versus the Giants. $25 wins you 48-81. Next game, I'm going Falcons -2.5 versus the Dolphins. $25 wins you 47-73. Dolphins just lost to the Jaguars, which we picked last week, and I think they're going to lose to the Falcons too. I think the Falcons are a better team than what they have on paper. Calvin Ridley is back. Defense is a little, hit or miss to say the least, but this is Matt Ryan's farewell tour, so I'm going to say that the Falcons beat the Dolphins, and I don't care who the quarterback is for the Dolphins. There's a lot of rumors about Deshaun Watson. By the time you're watching this, Deshaun Watson may be a Dolphin. Let's move right along to the Raiders, -3 versus the Eagles. Raiders had a really good game last week. They came out after all the Gruden controversy, and they played a lights-out game. Derek Carr, it seemed to be connecting with Ruggs, and Waller and Jacobs, and everyone was kind of getting in on it. The Eagles on the other side of the ball, they're just a bad team this year. I'm looking at Jalen Hurts, which kind of makes me uncomfortable sometimes just to watch him play. Miles Sanders can't do anything on the field. Rager can't catch the ball. Devonta Smith is doing all he can, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be enough. I like the Raiders defense. I think they pulled this off. So -3 versus the Eagles, $25 wins you 47-73. And last but not least, the Bears versus the Bucks. It's a 12.5 point spread. And what I've noticed about the Buccaneers is they usually keep games close outside of the Dolphins game. I think the Bears defense is all right. I think the Bears offense is not that great, but Fields, he's going to do everything he can. Allen Robinson's completely forgotten there, but I think they beat the spread. I think the Bucks absolutely win the game. But give me Bears plus 12.5, $25 gives you 47-73. And as always, be sure to check the Twitter throughout the week at Odds Honest Truth. All we do is post wins. I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but I ain't gonna toot my own horn because until I lose, keep betting. But yeah, that's it for me. Back to you, Craig.
Thank you so much, Rich. That's going to do it for another edition of the Odds Honest Truth. Thank you so much for listening to the show this week and every week. Please let us know what you think by liking or subscribing, leaving a 5-star rating wherever you listen to podcasts. We greatly appreciate it. It greatly helps out the show. And fire away on Twitter. Let us know what you want to see and hear next week as we dive deeper and deeper into this NFL season. Like I said, we are planning on giving out some NBA and NHL picks as well. So if you would like to be hearing some of those plays, definitely let us know in the comment section below. Again, my name is Craig Orbanoff, producer Craig, usually the man behind the curtain on the In the Money Media Network. But for this show and this show only, you get to look at my bright and shiny face. Thank you so much for listening. For Rich and for John and for Mr. Stucast Sports himself, thank you so much for joining us and giving out your analysis and plays for this week. We have a lot of fun making this show, so definitely let us know if you guys are liking it in that comment section. Follow along on all things In the Money Media. We want to thank Peter Thomas Fornatel, the founder and CEO, I guess, Grand Poobah of the In the Money Media Network. Jonathan Kinchin, the Chief Creative Officer. Drew Coatney, the Business Manager. I'm producer Craig. And for everyone else that I just mentioned, thank you so much for listening. And until next week, allegedly, that'll do it.